Hi, this is Nina from Woody Walters Digital Photo Candy. Today I want to show you a little bit about this new product, the Fine Art Paintings. And this is a sampler pack. It includes two backgrounds, and both of the backgrounds are 16 by 20 at 300 dpi. And it also includes two of the fine art brushes, 2500 pixels. So what we can do with those is create tons of different variations on the theme. But the reason why these sampler packs are so awesome is that we've pre-done a lot of the work for you. So let me show you with just a few clicks how you can customize these to fit almost any image that you want to put into them. So if you look over here on the right, you're going to see the background and the layer structure of the background. So we've got a white layer here, so that's just available in case you decide you don't want to go for that vintage aged look. And then I have the vintage aged background, and on this particular one I made a copy of that and I've put it in overlay mode. So a great tip is to get a lot of different looks from this, to go in and change the overlay mode. So every time you change it, it's going to affect the way that the background looks. So just experiment with that and you can come up with some really interesting effects. So I'm just going to put that on soft light for now. Also on the background is a couple layers of brushwork, and you can turn these off and on to kind of see where they show up. And the brushwork just adds to it and gives it just a little bit more of a painted feel and a little bit more kind of color to work with. What's really great about this is that we already have a color overlay built into the actual brushwork. So if once you get your image in there, you can customize the color. It's very simple, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Finally, we have the clipping mask layer, and that is simply the shape that your image is going to be forced into to create the painted look. And so that what it does is it just takes your image, and if you place it here, kind of in between these two, it makes it conform to whatever is below it. So all the pre-done brushwork that I've taken care of for you, it creates that painted effect instantly. And then the last layer here is a hue and saturation layer, and that's another subtle layer change. But what it does, and I'll show you in just a second, is it gives it more of a kind of desaturated look that has a little bit more of a vintage feel to it. So with all of these layers built in, you can turn them off and you can get different effects depending on the look that you're going for. So it's just kind of a starting point of work that's been pre-done for you, and then you get in there and you customize it and make it your own. So to put an image in here, it's very simple. Let's just go over here. We've got a picture of a girl here, just super cute. And we're just going to drag her over. So we're going to be in the move tool. And I'm simply dragging and then just letting it go. And I want it to be under this guide layer. So I'm just going to drag it up here and it'll force it into the shape. What you want to see is this little downward facing arrow, and that's exactly what happens. So then what we can do is we can move it around to fit the shape better and get it kind of roughly put in place. Now, there's a couple of things we need to do. We have a line up here and we also have one at the bottom, and that's simply just the edge of the frame. So there's a couple ways we can adjust this. The first one I'm going to show you is on the clipping mask layer. So I'm going to click on that. And we can actually change the shape of the clipping mask. So we can press Control T and we can bring it down. And that seems to fit that really well. And then we can press Enter. Another way to do this is to go to the Marquee tool. And what we're going to do is go to our image. So we're going to click on the image layer. And then I'm just going to roughly draw out a rectangle and let it go. And then I'm going to press Control T. If you're a Mac, it'd be Command T. And then I'm simply going to just drag this down until the line no longer exists. And we'll bring it down. And sometimes you need to minimize and zoom out so that you can actually drag onto the canvas part. Now it did make that line disappear, and when we're happy with the way it looks, we'll just press Enter. So the first way that I showed you is going to be a way to actually change the shape of the mask so there's no distortion. This second way that I showed you with the Marquee tool is going to be going to give you a little distortion, but you notice that since there isn't really a lot of detail down here, you're never going to notice it. So just pick the appropriate response and appropriate solution for what you need to do. Now to get rid of the marching ants, we're going to press Control D. If we were Mac, it'd be Command D. And then what I want to show you is how to change the brushwork layers, the colors of those. So what we're going to do, we can just double click this color overlay and it brings up the layer style box. Now we want to click on this box here and it brings up the color picker. Now just for demonstration purposes so you can see it really well, I'm just going to pick this kind of obnoxious orange color. But do you see how it changes it to anything that I select here? And anything that I pick in the color picker, it will go ahead and make the change to it. One big hint is to actually sample colors that are in the edges of your image. So what we want to do, see how there's an eyedropper when I'm in my image? I just click on it and it will change it to fit the color of the image better. So these are just really subtle things. Sometimes it's really nice with your images to have more of a restraint when it comes to color. So this is just a really great hint to sample from your image and make your brush strokes match the image and be just a complement and not a distraction. When you're happy with the color, then you're going to say OK, and then we're going to click the final OK button here. Now you can choose to turn this hue and saturation off and on. You can actually even reduce the opacity if you want to keep it on but maybe want to bring back some of the color. Oops, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong layer here. You can change that on this layer here. So you're going to click on that layer and you can actually bring the opacity down. You'll see it'll start to bring more color back into the image. So all of these things are pre-done for you. You can go in and you can customize them and you can make all kinds of different effects here. Now I want to show you one final thing. I'm going to delete this image here, so I'm just going to drag it to the garbage can. And then I'm going to pull a different image into this so you can see that these are really versatile. So this is just an image of a bride. So I'm going to drag her over there with the move tool and let it go. And it's going to clip it to the layer. See, it automatically added that because I put it under the right layer here. And then I'm just going to roughly drag her into place. And for demonstration purposes, we're just going to be okay with this right now. I would go in and fix this like I showed you just a few minutes ago. But what I want to really show you, let's zoom in. I want to show you how you remove the brush stroke from the face. So obviously, when it's on skin, you kind of want to soften that a little more. So the best way to do that is you need to actually click on the clipping mask. We're going to click on here and you want to see these corners, these white corners on the actual clipping mask. And then you go to your paintbrush tool and you can pick any color. It's defaulted to black, that's okay. You can bring your flow rate up to about 22% or any amount that you prefer. And then all you do is you just paint on here and it brings the detail back in our skin tone. So I'm just going over those areas. I'm okay with it kind of deteriorating on her hair because I think it gives it just a nice soft transition. But on the forehead and in the eyes, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that those are looking really good. And then on the neck as well. So anytime there's skin, I usually try to make skin look flawless and not look like she's got some type of skin disease. Okay, so that looks really good. So all we did was change this by painting directly on the clipping mask layer. Now, it's really important that when you do something like this, like paint on the clipping mask layer, that you save this as a copy because you will not be able to get back to the original painted mask. And the reason it does that is because we have set these up for you as pre-done work. The clipping mask, when you modify it, you cannot go back and change it. It's not like a layers mask where you can just delete it. So do yourself a favor and save a copy. Now, if you don't do it and you accidentally save it on top of itself, it's okay. You can send Corey an email and she'll take really good care of you and send you out a fresh download. But I'm just trying to save you some time and effort here. And then again, you can play with the hue and saturation if you want it to be a full color image. That looks pretty as well. There's just a lot of different variations here. Now with the two brushes that come with the set, you can further add some more paint strokes. You can customize the clipping mask more. It's very, very versatile. You can actually even create your own clipping masks using those two brushes. And those are simple to do and they just really create a really cool effect. So I hope that you've found this video really helpful, and I know that you're going to find lots of ways to use these backgrounds because they look good on just about any image. Anything from pets to babies to brides, they're going to be a go-to resource for you, and it's going to look like you spent a lot of time on your images when you've just spent a few minutes doing a few subtle tweaks that really make an image come together. So if you don't take advantage of this offer today, you're not going to get another chance. This offer is not available in our store at all. It is just available on this site for this next 48 hours only. So take advantage of that and start creating your own fine art paintings. You are not going to want to miss this opportunity. Thanks for watching.